Welcome back, RawSangan family. So today we're gonna do a updated Fluffal deck profile. This deck is really flipping good. Like, I took it to locals. Haven't played Fluffals in a while. I was trying to experiment with other decks and just nothing can compare to this deck. Especially right now that like everyone basically dropping dragon links at my locals, so no, we no longer lose to that stupid buster lock, and everyone went to that new virtual deck. This deck is just performing really well. This deck is, every time I play this deck, that's the only thing I ever lost to was the buster lock, because there's no out to it. But double clematis and that monster that banishes everything when it hits the graveyard, not a problem. This deck can take care of it easily. If you're asking how, well, check out this deck profile. So alright, so we're gonna start off with our favorite searcher, 3 Fluffal dogs. Basically, when he's normal or special summon, you get to search a Fluffal monster or Agent Savers. Sounds pretty good, right? But unfortunately, it's only once per turn. Then the next we play 3 Fluffal Penguins. So he has 2 different effects, and both effects are really important. One effect: if he's fusion summoned for a Friper monster, you get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. His other effect is when he's face up on the field, you can special summon another Fluffal monster from your hand. So that's not once per turn, it's a soft once per turn. So if we have him on the field, then we monster reborn him or just summon a different copy, we can do it again. So that effect is super nutty with like in this deck. So we played 2 Fluffal Wings. So basically what Fluffal Wings does is, if you control a face-up toy vendor, you can banish this card and another Fluffal monster from your graveyard, draw a card, send toy vendor to the graveyard, and draw another card. So basically you're drawing 2 cards. Then when toy vendor hits the graveyard, you get to search another Fluffal monster or Agent Savers from your deck. So easily you start plussing 3. So you play 2 Fluffal Bears. Fluffal Bears, basically, you can discard it to set toy vendor, or you can summon him on the field, tribute him off to grab a polymerization from your graveyard. That effect doesn't happen a lot, but it does come up. But fortunately, you can only activate one of its effect once per turn. So you guys gotta know which effect you want to use. So you got Fluffal Dolphin. So Fluffal Dolphin main effect is, if there's a toy vendor in your graveyard, you can set it, then you can send a Fluffal monster or Agent Savers from the deck to the graveyard. So normally we're always sending wings, but if we have wings in our hand, we're sending Savers, because we can stack our deck with a Fluffal monster, then activate toy vendor's effect to discard a card. So we're discarding the wings to special summon the Fluffal monster that we stacked, or basically we can summon any monster from our hand because we stacked the top of our deck with a Fluffal monster with Saber's effect. So, but if you want a chain block, say you're playing against a control deck and you know they have Solemn Strike or something, you can use this other effect that you can bounce a polymerization or a fusion spell from your graveyard back to your deck. So you can say make Friper Tiger Chainlink 1 and make Fluffal Dolphin Chainlink 2. So this way you can avoid the strike. So you play 1 Fluffal Cheap. Cheap's effect, basically, if you control a Fluffal monster, you can bounce the Fluffal monster, that's a cost. Then special a Agent monster from your hand or from your graveyard to the field, and that's not a cost. So you don't have to tell them, hey, I'm targeting chain from the graveyard. Like I said, because that effect is not a cost. It just really helps to like link up, and also to reuse chain on like the grind games. So one of my least favorite Fluffal monster is Fluffal Owl. So it has two effects. You can only activate one effect per turn. One, when it's summoned, you can normal or special summon, whatever. You can search a polymerization. The other effect is you can pay 500 life points and fusion summon one Fluffal monster from your extra deck using, you know, basically it becomes polymerization. This deck breaks a lot. So Fluffal Owl's effect doesn't come out quite as much as you like. But I have tried playing the deck without him, and it just makes my deck more inconsistent. So this deck makes my deck more consistent. Trust me, like his effect doesn't sound much, but when you don't see a poly, you're gonna be glad you had Owl. So we played 3 Edge Imp Chains. So Edge Imp Chain, when it goes from the field or hand to the graveyard, you get to search a Fluffal spell or trap card. So basically you search Patchwork with it. Pretty good card. His other effect is when he attacks, he can search another copy of himself. But you can only activate one effect per turn. So we played 2 Edge Imp Scythes. So basically it lets you polymerization on your opponent's turn. You use him and another Fluffal monster or whatever. You use another card as a material to fusion summon. So normally we always make Whale, and Whale has a popping effect. So it's kind of like a 2-card hand trap. That's why I only dropped it down to 2, and I'm not playing it at 3 because you need another card to make this card live. And this other effect is when a Fluffal monster is getting destroyed, you can banish it instead, and your Fluffal monster gets protected. So it has a protection effect. So basically the big play is you use this card on your opponent's turn. Hopefully you have Penguin, so you send Penguin and you make Whale. So you trigger Whale Chain Link 1 and Penguin Chain Link 2. You draw 2 cards, discard 1, and you pop a card. And this card doesn't target either. So that's why Scythe is so good. So you target Whale, then Scythe triggers to protect Whale. So we play 1 Edge Imp Savers. So its effect, when it's in the graveyard, you put a card on top of your deck to special summon him in defense mode. So that's what I was talking about earlier, that we get to stack Toy Vendor. So this way, when we activate Toy Vendor's effect, we're going to special summon from our hand. So we played 3 Gammas. This card is extremely important to this deck just because we do a lot of stuff before we summon. Like we activate Password to search for our Edge Imp monster and our poly. We activate Toy Vendor's effect. We activate Wings effect to draw 2. So if your opponent has an Ash or like any hand trap to interrupt us, they get punished for it because we can link this off for link 2. So it's pretty good. So we play that 1 driver obviously because you need driver to play Gamma. So we play that 1 artifact Scythe. Just because this deck has 2 different ways to like lock your opponent out of the game, and one of them is Climades, but because of the new virtual deck that's out, people are main decking stuff just to get rid of Climades. So this is our second win condition. So we play 3 Patchwork. So basically you can search a poly and an Edge Imp monster. You have to search both for this card to resolve, and also if your opponent negates the activation, you can activate another one because it says you can only activate 1 Fluffal Patchwork per turn. But if your opponent ashes it, you can't activate because Ash doesn't negate the activation, it just negates the card for the effect. So we played 3 Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor, like I said, its effect is you can discard a card, draw a card. If it's a Fluffal monster, you can special summon any card from your hand. If it's not, it goes to the graveyard. And if Toy Vendor hits the graveyard, you get to search a Fluffal monster or Edge Imp Savers. So this card's extremely busted. That's why, what is it called? What's the hand trap called? I just went blank. It's not DD Crow, it's Draw Lockbird. Draw Lockbird just completely shuts down this deck. That's why I stopped playing it for a while, because everybody was like maining or siding Draw. It was just annoying to lose to it. So I decided to play other decks that didn't lose to draw, but draw is losing popularity. So haha, we're back, baby. We're back. So we played one Fry for Repair. So this card has two effects. You can return a Fry fusion back to the extra deck to special summon a monster, Fluffal monster from your graveyard, or you can banish it from the graveyard to special summon a Fluffal monster from your hand. Pretty busted. We played 3 Foolish Goods. Foolish Goods is to send a toy vendor to the graveyard so we can search for our missing puzzle pieces. Because this whole deck is basically one big puzzle. You need A and you need B, and you need C in order to make D, unfortunately. And that's why this deck breaks. You need a Fryfer card, you need a Fluffal card, and you need a Polymerization. So Foolish Barrel just lets you help you grab the missing pieces. You play 1 Fryfer Fusion. You can banish the material from the field or graveyard to special summon a Fryfer Fusion monster from the extra deck. So we played 3 Polymerizations. That can't work without it. Unfortunately, it's not like Prank Kids where you don't need polymerization. They have an own searchable poly, or yeah. So 3 polymerization is a must-have. So we were talking about how this deck beats virtual deck. Pretty simple. One, the deck has 2 different cards to get rid of cards on the field, Well and Gamma. But let's say your opponent did establish double Clamades and that Synchro monster that banished cards from the graveyard. So Super Poly, all you need is just to discard a card, then you get to fusion summon. So Clamades, it's a dark, so you can, so on your draw phase, because you have the first action, you can activate Super Poly on the draw phase. This discard card obviously is going to get banished. You fusion summon they're both of their Clamades, and we make the Starving Venom. So Starving Venom's going to activate its effect to copy the attack of, or it against the attack of the, what do you call it, the Synchro Marcocosmos. So you're going to attack. But wait, your opponent has that trap card where they return 2 of the banished cards back to the hand or to the deck, can't remember exactly, to destroy a card in the field. Well, if this card gets destroyed, you get to destroy your opponent's special summon monsters. Yep, destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters. So either way, that card is gonna go bye-bye. Like, you're gonna get rid of your opponent's field. Then you're gonna be able to, so obviously your battle phase is gone, but you'll be able to, one, destroy that trap card with Tiger or Whale actually, and also you're gonna make your own Clamades, and when you pass their turn, you're gonna activate it on their draw phase or their standby phase, whatever, and call win. So now their Marcocosmo monster cannot come back, and their deck is basically done and over with. So that's how you beat it. Virtual World, super simple. That's why I'm maining Super Polys right now instead of Droplets, because Forbidden Droplets is a really good card with this deck, because we can send Toy Bender, we can send Shane, and they can activate their effect. So remember, right now, Super Poly MVP. All right, so now for the extra deck. We play 3 Fryfer Whale. This is probably the best Fryfer card right now. So its effect is when it's fusion summoned, you can pop a card on your side of the field and on your opponent's side of the field. So that's what I was talking about, like Fryfer Edgem Scythe is like a hand trap because you make him and you pop a card. His other effect, you can target a fusion monster and send a Fryfer card from the extra deck from your deck, and that fusion monster gains half of his original attack. So you can easily make this guy at 3,900. So we play 1 Tiger so we can blow up back row and blow up monsters. So it blows up cards for a minute's materials you use. Plus it gives all your Fryfer monster 300 attacks for each Fluffal or Fryfer monster on the field. So we play 1 Kraken. Kraken has 3 effects. It can attack twice. It can send a monster from the field to the graveyard on your opponent's side of the field. But if you use that effect, it cannot attack your opponents directly. but that's easy. So we activate polymerization, fuse him off for Sabertooth. Sabertooth's gonna bring back Kraken, and Kraken's be able to attack your opponent directly because it's technically a new Kraken. His other effect, at the end of the battle phase, you can switch him to defense mode. So we play one Sabertooth. Sabertooth is like a monster reborn for a Fluffal fusion. Obviously, it has to be properly fusion summoned in order to come back. And also, it gives all your Fluffal monster 400 attack. And if you use like 3 materials to make him, he cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effect. So it's kind of like an auto win to some decks that can't get rid of stuff like that. But every deck can problem solve now. So for the super poly targets, I have Mud Dragon and the Starving Venom. So not too much, but that's all you need. So those are my fusion. For my exceeds, I play one Bahamut Shark and I play one Totally Awesome. So basically Penguin and Dolphin are both water, so you make Shark and Shark brings out Totally Awesome. So and we play one Clematis. So for our links, we play one Cross Sheep, one Lambda, so we can have our Gamma live, and this deck can easily make rank 2s. One Appaloosa, just so when it comes back to our turn, we usually just make Appaloosa so we can avoid hand traps and we can avoid Lost Beer mode. And we played the one Dagna to set the artifact side. So yeah, that's basically my Fluffal list. Like I said, I got first place. I 2-0'd everybody, all the virtual decks, the Inferno Nobles, and that one Dark Condition deck that I played. So yeah, this deck went 5-0. Never went to game 3. This deck is actually really busted. Everyone's just more focused on Dragon Leagues, virtual worlds. Like I said, I don't know about you, but my locals, hardly anybody plays Drolls anymore. So, but yeah, if you like this channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join the RawSangan family.
Well, I'm here with the king of games, Yugioh, and he's telling me that you guys should subscribe, like, hit that notification bell for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Isn't that right, Yugi?